Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see you. So please stand and body your spirit as we sing our opening hymn, and that's Love Will Guide Us, number 131 in your great hymnal. So welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming community congregation. We don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief or ritualistic practice, but rather we are a covenant community, committed to loving and supporting each other in our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in matters of our personal faith. So, whoever you are, member, guest, or friend, and for whatever reason or purpose guided you to join us here, either in person or online, hello online folks, we welcome you. My name is Linda Seligman, and I am the worship coordinator for today's service. And I want to thank everyone who's made this worship experience possible. So I'm going to start by acknowledging Aviva, who's on vacation, but she coordinated a lot of music. But special thanks to Tristan, yay, for doing all of our music today while Aviva's on vacation. So thank you for doing that. Also wanted to thank AC for coming in every week, faithfully distributing our order of service at the door. And we want to definitely acknowledge all of our religious exploration teachers who are working with our youngest members. And our listening ear is me. So after the service, if there's something on your heart, mind, something you want to talk about, I'll be here. So find me. And to the fun part here, it's my pleasure to introduce a chaplain friend, Sonia Cornelis, also known as Minister Sonia Smith Cornelis. Okay, Cornelis, sorry. Oh my gosh, Cornelis. Sonia is a native of Raleigh, North Carolina. She was educated in the Wake Public School System, earned a BS degree at East Carolina University, a master's from North Carolina Central University, and is a seminarian at Duke University School of Divinity. Do you have enough room for all these feathers in your cap? She's a licensed minister and will complete her master's in Christian practice with a certificate in Black Church Studies this coming summer, which I'm sure you can hardly wait for that. Sonny's married to David Cornelis, and they just welcomed a baby boy, Asher David, on February 2nd. So she's a new mommy. Doing her best to survive. That's all new mommies do. See, I told you I'd go off script. On her spiritual journey and through service in her local church, she's served in various ministries, including community outreach, teaching, pastoral care, and her current focus in justice work. She's developing ministry with community activism, engagement, responsibility ministry called We Care, to support gaps in accessing information technology, workforce development, empower members of the community, and train community leaders. It's a lot. On top of all of this, she's a chaplain intern at the CPE program at UNC Rex Hospital in Raleigh. That alone is a lot of work. So anyway, we welcome you all today and thank you for being here. Before we create our time for worship, though, let's take a moment to share some important announcements. Make sure your phone is in worship mode. -2. That means quiet. And we'll be able to enjoy our coffee time after the service in the library in the back room. You can brave the outdoors if you'd like to, so stand outside and continue our conversations. And OCIM food pantry donations, make sure that we keep them in our minds as well, and donate to our community. And finally, Orange County is on level green, so masks are optional. I know I took a COVID test, you said you did too, so I know we're good. And we have masks in the front if you would like to wear them. And I can tell you from both of us working in the hospital, COVID still is happening, so, make sure you keep being safe. And when you use the other mic, just make sure you speak clearly so we can hear you. Are there any announcements from anybody for the good of the community?
Hi, good morning, I'm Patty, and for the good of our community, we need some people to sign up for coffee hour for March. We're covered for the first 2 weeks, but it's not a big chore. There's many hands to help. It took like 10 minutes to set up this morning with all the hands that came to help. So it's fun to do, and we all enjoy it. And the sign-up sheet is in the coffee room. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Allison. I'm also chair of the many hats that I wear on the and today there is a big event at the Whitted Building at 3 p.m. and it is the celebration of Polly Murray. And Polly Murray was a queer justice minister, law student. I mean, she did so many things to advance inclusion in our community, and we would love for you all to come out to the celebration at 3 p.m. at the Whitted Building. There will be music, there will be speaking, there will be spoken word, and food. So we would love to see you there.
Hi, I'm Aurora Tennyson, and I have a book borrowing request from the RE team. We're about to start a very short, kind of like filler curriculum to fill the gap between the end of our current one for elementary RE and the summer. And it's based on Dr. Seuss books, and we need 2 Dr. Seuss books that we can't. We need the Bunches, and the Butter Battle book. So if you have either of those, see Pam or me after the service and to coordinate bringing them in for that. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Amy Dark. I meant to bring up my notes and not my coffee. First, the Ministerial Discernment Task Force survey is live. It is ending March 1st. We currently have 19 responses, so members, friends, please get on that and submit your responses. If you need a new link or a paper version of that form, talk to me. I can get that to you. The other announcement I have is to invite
visitors and guests to our Exploring Our Pathway to Membership workshop, which is today at noon. We're going to be in the classroom across from the library. So anyone interested in membership here should stick around and thank you.
Okay. We'll begin with the light and loving warmth of Unknowing by Amy Carroll Webb. We light this flame perhaps the only thing we can do now and forever, the only
Good morning. Only that know only that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here, here among us, here upon the in your body, however tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you carry. For this hour, know you are not alone. For this, feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light, to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance. Already we are organizing. Come, let us worship together.
So let's rise in body or spirit as we join together in our opening hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. This is in your teal hymnal, 1008. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week among our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud while others choose to remain silent, and here we make room for both. For those who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself, collect your thoughts, so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. So now please come forward, tell us your name, and share what is in your heart. And when you're finished, you may release a stone into the vase on the altar. And for those of you joining us online, if you'd like to share a joy or concern, just please let us know and put that in the chat. And if you'd like us to read it aloud, we'll do that for you, and we'll drop a stone for you. For those of you who would prefer to silently acknowledge your joys and sorrows remaining in your hearts, I invite you to come to the altar and release a stone in the vase in silence while Tristan plays Spirit of Life. And after he plays it through one time, you're invited to join together to sing this meditation song, and the words are in your order of service. these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken. By remaining silent for a moment, let's consider what's been shared and how we might respond. And let us close together with Amen and blessed be.
Amen. Blessed be.
Now let's sing our children to class with the Children's Blessing, which is located on the inside back cover of your great hymnal.
I'm going to do my best because I forgot to practice this one.
You're good.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
How are you all this morning? Today is going to be a good day. I find myself singing that off the top of my head to my 3-week-old son. It's become our kind of anthem, or my anthem that I'm pushing on him. But today is going to be a good day. And if I may, can I get the mic pulled back just a hair? I'm a manuscript speaker. I know Linda said I could go off cuff, and I probably will. That's perfect, but I just want to be able to look down at my words. Truly, it is an honor to be with you all in a service and worship on this morning. Thank you for your hospitality and opening up this space for me to be able to share with you all on this morning. And to my colleague and newfound friend, Chaplain Linda, thank you. We have connected in our short time as chaplains at Rex Hospital, and I believe that this is a budding friendship and relationship. So thank you for considering me for this honor. Every time I have an opportunity to speak, I count it a privilege and an honor. You heard a little bit about me in my bio, and it seems like I just want to stay in school my entire life. Trust me, I do not. But what I have come to learn in my personal faith, that there's nothing lost in the economy of God. So yes, I feel like I did this program, and now I'm here, and now I'm there, but all things come together for me to be able to be fruitful in my faith and service to the people that I am in community with and to the world. So this may not be my last degree. PhD is on my mind. So keep me in your thoughts, and those that pray, keep me in your prayers also. I am tired. I really am. But I love school. My husband is like, this is the second master's you've gotten since we've been married. And a newborn who is such a blessing. We were fortunate enough and blessed enough to adopt Asher David. And it's been a 3.5, almost 4-year journey for us. The process, if anyone has been through that, can take some time. And I was coming back from my intensive week at Duke, and my husband received a call as I was unpacking my bags from the week and said, they have a baby for us. And birth mom wants to meet us next week, and she's due February 15th, and this was January 13th, and we drive to Charlotte to meet birth mother, and the experience was so beautiful. Such a gift that she gave me and my husband. And if I keep talking, I'll get a little emotional, but We feel so blessed and fortunate to be able to be parents to Asher, who actually came early, February 2nd, and so we're tired. We lack sleep, but we count it all joy because he is such a beautiful baby, and we're grateful for that. And just to explain a little bit about my tradition as a minister of the gospel, as we say in my tradition, there are several steps to ordination, which I will be going through the ordination process in June, another thing that I will be doing. But before then, you are licensed as a minister in my tradition, and you spend a couple of years teaching and preaching in our tradition. And then you go through examination, which I will be going through this summer, and then I can be called reverend and not minister. So just to give you a little background about that. So I heard the theme was love. I wore my love sweater on today. It is Love Month, and hopefully it's been a good love month for you all. It's been good to me. So I entitled this talk, What to Wear. And I'm coming from a scripture from New Testament, the book of Colossians, if you're familiar with it. Colossians chapter 3, and there's a verse 14 that says, above all, clothe yourselves in love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let me pause by saying, thank you for mentioning the event about Polly Murray. If you haven't looked at the documentary that's on Netflix, it is amazing. It tells a lot about Polly's life, and she was well beyond her time. Well beyond. She was sure of who she was if she identified as she, but she was an amazing woman, person that did an amazing work, an amazing writer, and I really encourage you to watch that documentary on Netflix. Also, thank you for the lingo of worship mode for your phone. I like that. You know, it's a little more chic savvy than put it on silence. But those are the two things I just wanted to say. So, what to wear? So there was a period of time between my early to mid-20s where every Friday I had a ritual of sorts. I would drive home from work. I'd stop by Winston's Grill on Wake Forest Road in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I would order the salmon Caesar salad, and I'd get home and I'd put on my sweatpants and I'd put on my t-shirt and I'd eat my salad and indulge in a few reality television programs. I can admit that. So the lineup was courtesy of the TLC channel. Anyone familiar with TLC? Okay. All right, you all know where I'm going then. So the lineup included Bridezilla. Anyone seen that show? Yes, a couple. Say Yes to the Dress. Obsessed as a 20-some-year-old with that show at the time. And there was Dream Weddings. And my favorite of all of these shows on TLC was one called What Not to Wear. She remembers. I have someone with me, witness as we say, in my tradition. So, I know that I might be aging myself as a young Gen Xer with watching What Not to Wear, but I love watching What Not to Wear. And in the show, which was an American spinoff of a British show with the same name, two fashion stylists, one was Stacey London and the other Clinton Kelly, would take $5,000 and a person whom was identified by a friend or a family member or the individual themselves to be a fashion disaster. And so they would take this person and give them a life-changing makeover. I mean, it included a new hairstyle, sometimes with tears. And it included makeup and how to teach yourself how to wear makeup. And, of course, an entirely new wardrobe. But at the cost of throwing their entire previous wardrobe away at the beginning of the episode. I mean, they would take them through every single piece of clothing that they had, and they'd say, you can't do this, you can't do that. And they had these big old trash cans, and y'all remember, okay, for those that watch the show. And so as Stacy and Clinton engaged with the individual, the audience got a look into their life stories. It did. And it provided an understanding about how a person got stuck at a moment in time stylistically. And so as a result, this led to their lack of care or concern about how they presented themselves to the outside world. Now, as a disclaimer, please understand that I know full well that outer appearance is not a reliable indicator on whether someone is beautiful in spirit, or personality, or smart, or intellectual, or a sign of their happiness. We know it's not. But one thing that I found very interesting while watching the show was that Stacy and Clinton somehow helped unpack and shed light on personal matters that caused the fashionably challenged to be resistant to change or evolution. So many times, a person was stuck in a specific era. You know, the platform shoes of the 70s. The big shoulder pads of the 80s, right? The grunge tees of the 90s, which, if we think about it, all have come back. I think fashion just kind of repeats itself. And the show almost always ended with the individual having a boost in their self-esteem, and it spilled out into how they interacted with their loved ones and community at their big reveal. There's a big reveal at the end of the show. And you see, at the end of each episode, there was a post-show follow-up interview, always including the individual, and in addition to maybe a loved one or a coworker or a friend or a neighbor, and they were all excitedly and willing, ready to share about the change that they had seen in the individual as a result of their big transformation. So relationships were restored, and self-esteem was boosted, and courage and empowerment showed up in the person, and love filled the room at the end of each episode. There's a lot of excitement. And all of this occurred for the person by simply learning what not to wear. And let's note that for some, there may have been a little bit of resistance, a couple of tears when hair was cut, and tears when certain jackets were thrown away, or a favorite pair of pants, and I'm gonna be honest, Clinton and Stacy didn't do their best to try and honor that. They just tossed. But ultimately, most, not all individuals were grateful for their makeovers, and as this gave them a new kind of life of sorts. Well, there is a sort of similar situation in the verse that I'm using to anchor my talk today. A letter was written to this new community of faith by an apostle named Paul, who you all may be familiar with. And now Paul, just like Stacy and Clinton, did not personally know these individuals, but he was given a little bit of insight about some conflict in the new community of believers. He learned that there were many persons who were resistant to change, and so change that was necessary for these newly converted group of faith members to live out their lives as fruitful as they could as a community. And change that was necessary. And they were in the city of Colossus, ancient city. And Colossus, along with this new community of church, was full of diversity. I mean, this was a place where everybody lived, everyone lived. And not only in ethnicity, but diversity in their ways of living, in their ways of thinking, approach to faith and religion. There's lots of diversity in Colossus. And the culture of the city kind of bred self-regard and contempt of others, just to be honest. And there was the influence of empire and capitalistic interests, which almost often never considered the greater needs of the community. So it is easy to see how some members in this new church were very resistant to change that he was trying to teach them about. Inward change that was necessary to free them from their pre-converted lives. And so Paul writes this letter, speaks to their resistance to growth and inward change. He illumines their stubborn will, a will that mimicked the self-serving character of the greater society. So Paul's goal through written communication was to encourage them to grow, bear fruit in all of their good works. And Paul wanted for this community to be a mature community of faith. And he wanted them to be mature in their interactions with each other, in their engagement with others outside of their community and outside of their faith tradition, mature in how they settled their disputes, mature in how they navigated through matters of forgiveness and making amends. Because the truth of the matter is that some of the newly converted believers behaved in a manner that didn't show signs of love or maturity. They were held hostage to tradition and outward signs of faith from their pre-converted lives. But Paul comes to challenge them, to summarize. Paul, in earlier verses, challenged them to put to death their earthly things, and he encourages them to do nothing with evil desires. He tells them to not be greedy in their desires. He tells them not to get rid of anger and get rid of rage and get rid of slanderous speech and offensive language. In all, Paul is trying to remind them of what loving relationship and community should look like. And this starts with the individual doing their own work of inner transformation. You see, I love what Paul tells them. He says, put on the new nature and be renewed. That's what he's trying to tell them. Be renewed if you say you're going to be changed. And the Greek word is endesko, which means to be clothed with when he says put on. And the truth of the matter is, when we enter a room, one of the first things that people see is what we are wearing. It's just the truth if we are able to visually see. And find me someone who has not put on some clothes before coming out in public, and I'll show you someone who's going to be arrested very quickly. Yes, it's the truth. I don't know how far it'll go in Hillsborough, but in Raleigh, you'll get arrested pretty quickly if you don't have on clothes. Clothes are important. And I'd like to suggest that what we wear is important. No, not the brands we wear, but how we clothe ourselves, put on, as Paul says. What do our clothes say about us? No, that I'm not being superficial, but in fact, we all have to be clothed. Thank goodness you all are clothed today. It would be an interesting talk if you weren't. And I'd say, Chaplain Linda, I think this might be my last visit. But thank God we all have to put on clothes. And I'd like to note that Paul does not just tell them what not to wear, but he also shares with them what they should be wearing. He admonishes them to clothe themselves with tender-hearted mercy, for mercy is the gateway to compassion. He says, clothe yourself in kindness, for kindness is the bridge of building new relationships and friendships. He says, clothe yourselves in humility, gentleness, and patience, for they all anchor and a healthy community, I believe. Stacy and Clinton spent an entire hour talking to people about what not to wear. And as a self-proclaimed fashionista, I absolutely love the end result of the transformation and the styles they would put together. I know it's not everybody's thing, but there is one garment that they forgot that our dear friend Paul noted as the most important garment, and that garment is love. And I'd like to suggest that Paul's letter is just not a reminder for the ancient community in Colossus, but is a word of encouragement to all of us living today. That if we want to be transformed by the renewing of our minds and transformative in our community and in our world, we must all wear the same clothes that bind us together in perfect harmony. All Paul is trying to say is love, real love, will cause us to consider the needs of others. That real love breaks barriers and can turn foe into friend and seeks restoration, that real love won't let you sit on the sidelines when political parties and policies are put in place to undermine the lives of people. And so I admonish us all on today, including myself, as we put on new clothes, consider putting on your garment of love. Love so that we might not ignore the needs of the least, the left out, and the lovely. That before you stick your feet in those nice Italian loafers, first put on love so that you can speak up for the needs of the marginalized. Before you pull that North End jacket over your head, put on love so that you can resist the temptation to ignore the systems that keep people hungry and hurting. Before you place those bedazzled out Crocs, put on love so that you can speak truth to power about racism and sexism and patriarchy that runs rampant in our country. Before you put one leg in your favorite pair of skinny or relaxed or boyfriend cut jeans, remember to put on love so that you can rally against laws that disproportionately keep black and brown people incarcerated and brutalized and killed by the archaic policy of police tactics. Before you grab your favorite pair of gloves or that newly knitted cap to complete that perfect outfit, put on love so that you can stand against measures that have been put in place where women make significantly less than their male counterparts for doing the same role. Before you put on that A-line skirt or that pencil skirt, put on love so that we can fight for the rights of our queer and LGBTQAI plus sisters and brothers. Before you put on your favorite sweater, put on your garment of love. Love that speaks up to the needs of why we need economy and eco and environmental justice. Before you put on your favorite pair of heels, put on love so that we can speak up against all of those things that would cause to snuff the life out of those who are less fortunate. My friends, if there's nothing else you remember from these few moments that I've been given, remember we can choose to wear a lot of things, but above all things, and in order to affect change in our world, we must clothe ourselves in love. Thank you.
Amen.
That was lovely. And you put on love today. Thank you. Well, at this time each Sunday, we take up a monetary offering, which supports our social justice work in our Orange County communities. And this month, our plate goes to the NAACP. Please donate by putting cash or checks in the offering plate, and if by check, by plate and memo, you can also use the donate button or the QR code on your order service. And thank you for your generosity.
Think about the girl learned its lesson. She'd be yours if only she would call. In the wee small hours of the morning, it's the time you miss her most of all. Your lonely heart has learned its lesson. She be yours if only she would call. In the wee small hours of the morning, it's a time you miss her. It's a time you miss her. It's the time you miss her most of all.
Thank you, Tristan. It was very beautiful. Please join me with our prayer of collective gratitude in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received. Let us be truly grateful. And for our closing hymn, please stand in body or spirit as we sing One More Step, number 168 in your great hymnal.
Everyone will take one more step.
Our closing words. We all emerge by Eric Williams. We all emerge from dwell within, are transferred by and called back to love. May your mind be humble before this mystery. May your heart grow hopeful by it. May you be sustained by this love always.
And now please join me as we extinguish our sacred UU chalice. And we can all speak this together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be. Blessed be.
And then he goes back to sleep. So you're rhythm.